I never knew just what happened.
I'm sorry, that is heartbreaking. Why did no one tell her? How hard would that have been? I'm sorry, Mrs. Brisby, your husband was killed by a cat. What, do you think she would be suspicious?
Why? Did he never tell me about any of you?
To answer that, I must tell you about NIMH. We were ordinary street rats, stealing and living off the efforts of man's work. We were captured and sent to a place called NIMH. 20 rats and 11 mice were given injections. Our world began changing. We had become intelligent. We escaped through the ventilation system. Jonathan and Mr. Aegis. We were trapped by a locked door on the roof. It was Jonathan who made possible the unlocking of the door.
That's it? That's what he did? Ah! Really? That's what he did? He lifted a latch. If you're so intelligent, why the heck didn't you just use an apparatus or something to open the door, like you did for the air vent? Jonathan has done nothing remarkable here. I'm sorry. He's done nothing remarkable whatsoever. Jonathan made possible the unlocking of the door. That's a really fancy way of saying he lifted a latch. All of this bullshit because Jonathan lifted a latch.
Mrs. Jonathan Brisby.
Mrs. Jonathan Brisby?
May I present Mrs. Jonathan Brisby?
You know what? That's so typical of this movie. That's exactly it.
I have a gift. Come. Jonathan meant it for you.
What? Jonathan meant it? So Jonathan had it? Where did he get it? Did he get it from NIMH? It's a sparkly, shiny, magical amulet. What is it even doing in this world? It's like Gandalf showed up one day and said, "Here, Jonathan. Here, have fun. Bye."
When worn by one with a courageous heart, the stone glows red. Courage of the heart is very rare. The stone has a power when it's there.
So this is a chosen one tale now? Thought we were actually working with themes.
Look, an inscription. You can unlock any door if you only have the key.
The key. So is that thing the key? Because I was thinking thematically that represented Jonathan Brisby. That's it! That's it! Of course! That does represent Jonathan Brisby, and it's the key, because she hasn't been able to do squat without using her husband's name. It makes perfect sense. You can unlock any door if only you're married to me. Yeah, when does Brisby get her independence?
This, to me, might be considered kind of a step backwards, wouldn't you say?
I will treasure it, always.
Jonathan couldn't tell you about NIMH because the injections slowed the aging process.
What? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You don't think that might be something she'd notice? Honey, our kids look older than you. Are you sure you were never a loudmouse? Absolutely.
You would have grown old while he remained young.
Well, it's nice to know they had an honest, open relationship. It's too bad Jonathan died, because he planned to lie and deceive you for no reason for the rest of your life.
Sometimes, when we have a long project that takes us into the open, Mr. Aegis makes up a sleeping powder to give to Dragon. Someone must go into the farmhouse kitchen and put it in his dish.
About Dragon, maybe? Oh, nothing. Goodbye. I volunteer. For Dragon, please.
As you wish.
Now, finally, Brisby's starting to take all this bullshit into her own hands. There are two major dependency themes happening in this film. We've seen Brisby and her dependency upon everyone and everything else, and she needs to break free of that if she's going to carry on with normal life. Then the rats aren't comfortable with their dependency on the farmer for power. They desire the same thing Brisby does, to be self-sufficient and live happily and simply without dependence on others. Now, Brisby also does something that I personally love to see in any character. She makes an important decision that is very difficult for her to make, holds high risk, and she has a lot to lose. It will definitely affect the story, and most of all, it's a decision that is important to her. This is a task that Brisby is risking leaving her children motherless for. She feels this is something she needs to do. She is finally making a move as a person, not just as a mother or a wife or whatever else. This is also the exact task that killed her legendary husband. So while we're never really sure why Brisby chooses to do this, it could be to help and thank the rats for helping her, it could be to finish her husband's work, but either way, this is where we start to see the ramifications following Brisby's decision.
Yes, you can. Now take a deep breath. Now. Now!
Coming.
Get back!
Mom, I've got a mouse. Can I keep it?
I like that Brisby gets caught, because it corresponds to the level of risk the movie has already associated with this task. Jonathan lost his life and Aegis broke his leg. Brisby getting caught strengthens this concept of just how dangerous a job this is.
Hello? Who? Nim. Oh, yeah, Nim. No, you can bulldoze that rose bush right out of there. I want those rats exterminated.
Nim, they're coming here. I must warn Justin.
She gets to serve as a sacrificial martyr, another trope I like very much reserved for the main protagonist. Brisby has sacrificed herself for not only the chance to move her home to safety, which the rats can now do undisturbed thanks to her, but she has also sacrificed herself for Jonathan's cause and the rats of NIMH. And in serving her unjust imprisonment and even spilling blood, she gains the knowledge that can save the rats' lives. So whereas a few minutes ago she was at the mercy of the rats, and then a second ago she was working for them, now, while they may not know it yet, they are at her mercy. See, she got herself out of that cage. She problem solved. She used her head. You would not believe how many female characters cannot do that. Yes, this must be encouraged. This is Brisby's rebirth segment. She takes off her cape and her amulet, leaves her husband behind, and visually, I mean, she looks like she's this pure and natural state, like a newborn. And then she's imprisoned, in which she's wounded, healed, and then emerges again, reborn to the world via water. Right? She redresses and heads off to conquer her ultimate conflict. See? Symbolism! Yeah. Meanwhile, back at the other side of the rock, Jenner's plan is put to action.
Ready with the knife.
That's a sword.
Consult the Book of Armament.
What an excellent place to stand. I'll survey the progress from below. Nicodemus, isn't that dangerous? Highly.
Nicodemus. No.
Well, don't you feel like a bit of a fool? I suppose I should have seen this coming. Oh, Wages, did your heart grow 3 sizes today?
You're in great danger. Nim is coming.
Come, let's return to the rose bush.
Nim is coming. You will all die unless you leave the farm tonight.
Lies.
Please, get out now! Ah!
You get out. I've had enough.
Jenner's a maniac? We're shocked. And then Jenner goes bananas trying to get the stone.
Jenner, get out of my way!
We're not sure why. Maybe Jonathan owed him money. So, with Jenner dead, now, thanks to Brisby, power within the rats of NIMH has been reinstated from Jenner to Justin, and the rats' dream of moving to Thorn Valley and living independently can finally become a reality. Brisby has saved the rats from the terrible cruelty of NIMH. It was her information that made that happen. I don't know if that's even actually symbolic. She actually did that. She has gone far and beyond the debt the rats owed her husband. Right, so everything's good with the rats. They've got their independence. So now it's Brisby's turn. She's gotta save her family. I don't know how.
Anybody up there?
Martin?
Mom! Mother, are we almost moved?
Soon now.
Right here, she's gonna figure it out. She's gonna do something awesome, I know. So wait for it. It's gonna come up. She's gonna say, what's happening?
It's sinking. It's sinking.
Why?
Justin! The block! It's sinking!
Her house is sinking in the mud?
There must be a cave in below!
Was that really necessary? Honestly, why? What does that do? I mean, the plot gods come down and say, Brisby, just wanted to remind you you're utterly helpless. I just thought we'd emphasize that by making things really difficult for you.
Mother! Mother! What's all that black stuff?
Well, that can't possibly be mud. They're the right way up. Maybe it's doom. There's doom dripping from the ceiling. What is wrong with your ropes?
Another line! Oh!
Justin!
Hurry!
Justin!
Okay, we get it. The situation is impossibly dire and she's completely helpless. Anything else? Okay, well, maybe I'm jumping the gun here and being too brash. I mean, maybe they're just trying to show how difficult a task this is that Brisby has to accomplish. She can't just, move her house. It's not just a simple thing. She's got to, what is that?
Courage of the heart is very rare.
No!
The stone has a power when it's there.
Not the amulet, no. Has everything No, 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 no! Stop it! Good. Okay. Well. Do I really have to explain why that's problematic? The amulet is Jonathan. It was given to her by Nicodemus, the two parties from which Brisby was trying to earn her independence. Symbolically, no, it falls flat. I mean, what about all the themes you were, Brisby had so much growth right at the end there. Everything was adding up, and then just shoot your themes in the foot. I mean, what was all of that actually? Drama? You just wanted it to be dramatic with lots of lights and shiny bits, and just great. Good job. You accomplished that. We definitely have a dramatic end to this movie. Our character is unfinished, but who cares? The movie wasn't about the character. And she was a good character. She had development and growth, personality and subtlety and humor and just she had all these good things going for her, and then just nope. Deus Ex Machina. Magic trinket. This is negative meaning. This is negative growth. I mean, at the beginning, Brisby couldn't solve anything herself, but at least neither could Jonathan or Nicodemus. Well, now they can, and so now her life is gonna go on because Nicodemus and Jonathan solved everything for her. Great. I mean, look at her. Could we even argue that she was conscious when she did that? It's just magically she becomes Mrs. Jesus with a rope, and lazy storytelling floweth through me. Oh, it's so exhausting. And yeah, faint. Please faint. Yes, thank you. Just so we were clear that you weren't actually capable of anything, you needed to faint. Brisby, stand up! If your courage of the heart, my ass. Get on your feet. I mean, I suppose you could read it as Brisby went from being the one dependent on others to having others depend on her. But it still doesn't change the fact that her problems couldn't be solved by her winning her dependence. Only Jonathan and Nicodemus's magic could do that for her.
You gotta have the sparkly!
I gave it to Justin.
Alright, so symbolically, this could mean that she surrendered her final ties of dependence. Does this mean that now she's independent? It doesn't seem to mean as much when we didn't get to see it in action. She didn't get to resolve her ultimate goal with this supposed independence. So instead of feeling like she can now handle anything life throws at her, it feels more like she's finished needing anything from anyone. The amulet should have come right up to her, slapped her across the face, and said, "If I do it for you, how will you ever learn?" So to sum up with pros and cons, pros, I love Brisby's design. I think she has a really interesting theme, a unique, consistent personality, and I love that she makes a plot-altering decision with high stakes and high risk in order to further her strength of self. Cons, I don't like the other characters all being assholes in the movie acting like they didn't. Only agreeing to help a lady in distress if she has a famous husband when a child's life is hanging in the balance is not okay. Talking down to her like a lesser person is not okay. Acting like it's okay for a husband to be dishonest to his wife is not okay. Watching her misfortunes unravel in real time and narrating it back through not one but two male characters just to validate Brisby's plight is also not okay. Brisby's story is strong enough on its own for the perspective of the film to be from her point of view. And solving everything with a magical trinket is beyond not okay, and that's just lazy. Most of all, Brisby needed a finale. She needed to solve her dilemma herself, somehow, so that she could move on with her life with confidence. But final verdict, I really like Brisby, even despite the ending. She's a strong character, she doesn't sacrifice her own development for anyone else. She problem solves, she takes risks, she makes difficult decisions, and shows true courage. Which sounds fairly basic, but most female characters in Western animation cannot claim to have these traits. Animation absolutely needs more characters like Brisby. So there.